This is Mid-Atlantic Women in Agriculture's Wednesday webinar, Social Media Privacy. Our presenter today is Christy Mannering, web developer, University of Delaware. All archived presentations, along with all upcoming presentations, can be found at our website. And a special thank you to our sponsor, Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit. Since this is an archived presentation, Christy will not be taking live questions, but her email address is provided if you have any follow-up questions. All materials discussed during the presentation can also be found at our website. Thank you for listening.
You can find out all this about me just by Googling my name because I have Flickr and it's open to the public. I use Google Play, which is open to the public thanks to Google+. And anytime I read anything on my Kindle, I know that it automatically syncs to Oh, thank you. It automatically syncs to Goodreads, so sometimes I leave reviews, other times it just tells you how fast I read the book, so all of you can find out if I'm a speed reader or not, or if I'm reading about vampires, which right now I'm not, but it is a paranormal book that I'm reading right now. So my pictures are always everywhere with Flickr. Facebook, I do have some privacy settings on. We're going to go through all of that, but these are my babies, although my youngest is 2 now, my oldest is 11. Braden, Finnegan, and Amelia there peeking. That was our selfie over the winter. So, and then I have the Facebook and the Twitter handles. So there's the University of Delaware College of Agriculture and Natural Resources handles, and then there's my personal ones. Feel free to look me up or ask questions or follow us at the University of Delaware because we're always doing pretty cool things. So here's a quick snapshot. This is from January, but this just gives you some numbers, all billions, all pretty, a lot of numbers there. So there's 7.2 billion people in the world. And it tells you exactly how many of them are active internet users, active social media users, use their mobile phones, and also use their mobile phones for their social accounts. So all in the billions. So you're reaching a lot of people, and a lot of people have access to you when you're online. So this is a consumer report. You can look it up at the URL for Facebook, or you can, I got this graph on Pinterest, love Pinterest. So currently, more than 1 billion people are active on Facebook, and that's monthly. So that, that's a staggering number. And 100 million people use Instagram every month, although the graph says 150. And so we know Facebook bought Instagram, and so those numbers, I feel, are going to continue to go up. Same with Google, although most people don't know they're using Google+. I guarantee you that you are using Google+. So we'll go through some of those settings as well, since Google sort of does a lot of things behind the scenes by default that you might not be aware of. And then my husband uses Reddit. I don't use Reddit. I need to have pictures, and Reddit is a lot of lines all squished together, so that's not my person. Wendy, I have an alert that says you raised your hand, but that's probably just when I asked if you could see the presentation. So just let me know if you had a question or not. So I'm moving on. And a lot of people ask, I know my mom and my dad ask, they're both on social media, on Facebook. Actually, my mom has Twitter now as well. So she favorites and retweets everything, and my phone will be vibrating around 7 p.m. that I know, oh, mom's on Twitter. So is there a big brother? Yes. There's also an Electronic Frontier Foundation. You can go to their website. They have a ton of really great information, and they keep up to date on news. Some of it is, you need to know because it impacts your rights as a person. So understanding social media privacy is becoming more important. There's more accounts out there, there's more applications out there. As more and more people have mobile phones, there's going to be more mobile applications as well. So whether you're out in the field and you're, just holding your phone, you still have access. Even my coworker Lindsay, who you cannot see right now because I turned the webcam off, was telling us that her friends in, what country in Africa are they in? Tanzania. Her friends in Tanzania all have phones. And so phones are everywhere and mobile applications are everywhere, and we just need to be alert and aware of that, especially since as professionals we're using these networks pretty much daily. So, in the news, this actually came out June 17th, so that particular article is very new. Who owns your face? I don't necessarily like that headline, but I don't know if you've noticed on Facebook, but they have a new application called Moments, and Moments, when you upload photos, allows you to make a really cool gallery. It's fun, and you can share your moments with your friends. It also reads your face. So when you upload a photo on Facebook, I know I uploaded a picture of my son, and it wanted to tag my mom, and so my mom was thrilled with that because she said, oh, your son looks like me, he looks like his gram, so that was exciting. However, it does look for facial recognition. This one's a little bit older article, but it is still prevalent and it is still something to be aware of. And it came from the idea that if you go on vacation, people go on vacation and they take pictures of their feet, you know, in the sand. We see those pictures all the time. Or they'll take pictures of a dish they're eating. Well, when you do that, if you geotag or even if you have any timestamp, you're allowing people to see that you're not at home. And so particularly on Twitter and Facebook, since they're the most prevalent, so you know, you're letting people know even your work hours. If you use social media at work, which I do for the College of Agriculture, someone who follows me maliciously, which would be terrifying, they could know exactly when I get to work, when I leave work, and they could know theoretically when I'm on vacation if I don't have my privacy settings set properly. Another one that came up behind are apps and social media putting your privacy at risk. That is also a fairly new article. I believe it came out in May, but it's something, it's in the news, it's going to stay in the news. We're going to continue to hear about it. And a lot of the time, like this with this new Facebook one, it's because they're updating their policies and their legal agreements. So this is just a real quick slide at work. So I do use social media at work. If someone were to come into my office and see Twitter or Facebook or Instagram up or YouTube up, you know, that's okay. That's part of my job. But for someone like my brother who is, you know, a manager at a business, it wouldn't be the best idea for his workers to see him on Facebook, especially if he has a rough day and he decides to post about what a rough day he had, and then maybe his supervisor will say, hey, I saw that you posted that you had a bad, you know, people are getting fired for that. So there are laws, they are statewide, there's no federal law, but depending on your employer and depending on your state, you have to be very careful what you post that's public because everything is time-stamped. GEO-LOCATE privacy, this is something very important to me, particularly with my oldest son, but a lot of kids bring their phones to school now, and being educators and being in this field, even for cooperative extension type fields, we have scholars, we have interns that work with us. Knowing these types of things is important because we're adults and we should feel responsible for the people who we are role models for. So just knowing your phone, I think by default has location on, but you can turn location off. If you use your phone for GPS, your location's on, which means if you then use Foursquare, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you're sharing your location. Sometimes it will just share, I'm in Delaware. Delaware is small, but it's not so small enough that I have a fear that someone will know exactly where I am. However, sometimes it will share, oh, I'm in Bear, Delaware, which is where I live. So sometimes it will even share exactly the restaurant you're in, so you just have to be cognizant of that. So this is a new thing. It's called digizen.org, and it's an idea of a digital citizen or having a digital citizenship. And I think it's very important. It has icons for teachers, parents, and kids, so kids can learn. There's this game about being a social network detective, and you download a profile page, like a mock profile page, and it says, what is this person doing to safeguard themselves, something like that. For educators and teachers, a lot of teachers are now using social media in the classroom, so it's just important to know these types of things. And then, of course, we all know, not only with work, but with just having families and friends and everybody online, there is an issue of cyberbullying. So all of this, just to be cognizant that just because you're doing it online and you're not out in a group of people doesn't mean it's not in a group of people. There are people always watching, and all of us who use Facebook know all you have to do is look for one pair of winter boots, and then that's the ad you're going to see on the side of Facebook for the whole rest of the day. So just to know that this happens. And then that settings vary across platforms. So when I created this slide, the Facebook had just updated their privacies in November, but because of the new face recognition, they've updated it again recently this month. So usually when you log in, it'll say, we've updated our privacy settings, or we've updated our terms of agreement. Click yes to say that you read it. And probably 9 times out of 10, we click yes without actually reading it. Myself included, I will admit there are times when I don't read, but I'm pretty curious most of the time, so I do look. So it's just to know that that's their safeguard. You know, they update something, and they're sort of counting on not everybody reading it. So here we go. Now we're going to get into the platforms. This is just a little comic that I put up there because it was funny to me. But with Facebook, it tells you, you might know this person because, you know, you have shared friends, and so it's just interesting to me because that happens a lot. Now, personally, for me, I maintain the College of Agriculture page for the University of Delaware. I have to have a personal Facebook profile to do that because I have to log in. So just knowing that if you have a personal profile account, even if you don't post anything on there, if you're not attuned to your privacy settings, somebody could be posting about you and it would show up on your page, and if you don't look at that, you wouldn't even know it. So I kid, next time you log in, you might see a photo of yourself from middle school, and if you're me, that means you had a big giant black bow and a really bad perm. So nobody wants to see that. Now this is also very interesting. When you're on Facebook, you like a page, maybe you like a magazine, you like a band. So that type of information is shared publicly depending on your privacy settings. So you might say, like my mom, Margie, she's listed as my mom, so that's a connection. So then anybody she's listed as family is now a connection to me as well. If you have your birth date on there, how many times have you gotten happy birthday messages from 150 people who normally don't comment on your wall? So this is 20.4 million people include their birth date and the year on their profile, so you know exactly how old they are. Then not religious affiliation shouldn't matter, but we all know that it does to people. And so if I say I'm Catholic on my page, or if I say that I'm agnostic on my page, and it's a public fact. So anybody who's friends with me, and depending on my privacy settings, anybody who's friends with those people will now know my religious affiliation. Love life, how many times are we seeing PDAs on Facebook? Public displays of affection are fine if someone's holding hands, but I don't need to see my brother kissing his girlfriend on Facebook. Anyway, people do that all the time, especially on anniversaries, on Valentine's Day. We see that it's discussed and then it's shared, and then my coworker is laughing at me. I don't know if you can hear her, but it's true. And then I know working at the University of Delaware, there are a lot of times in which recreational use of alcohol, that's there. So it's just knowing what do you like, what are you sharing, and why it matters. Because details matter, and then they become searchable. And so if somebody were to fall at work and then be out of work because they hurt their leg or something, and then you have a picture of yourself jumping at Jump Zone, insurance companies are on Facebook. So it's just really interesting how in-depth you can get with things like this, and why it's very important to know what you're posting. Even for the College of Agriculture, I know that Lindsay's the photographer sitting behind me, but we have to pay attention to what animals we're posting on social media, because sometimes to us what might look like a cute animal on our farm here, it might not look cute to somebody else. If they see that they're in a cage or a pen and we know that it's to keep them safe, somebody else might not know that. So we have to be very cognizant of what we post. So that's an old screenshot of me there, but you can see what your profile looks like to anybody else just by clicking on the 3 little dots next to View Activity Log, and you can click View As, and you can view yourself as the public or as a specific friend. And you can do that as a page as well. So Facebook also allows who can view you even if they're not your friend. So it's interesting, I know my number has gone up recently, but when you're viewing as a specific person or as the public, it will tell you you're also being followed by 9 people or whatever it is. So any post that you have that's public, that means it has the little earth next to it. That means that those people are seeing those posts, even though you don't know who they are. So checking regularly your privacy settings. Facebook has the little lock with the 3 lines next to it, and they have a privacy checkup. So you can block people if you need to. You can say who can contact you by private message. Some people turn commenting off altogether. You cannot comment on their wall, but you can comment to them through private message. So all of these settings are available there. You just have to look through them. There is a help page if it doesn't make sense, but usually it's pretty intuitive. So if you go to advanced settings on Facebook, this is what you'll see. One thing that I find incredibly important is to go to timeline and tagging. So here you'll see who can post on my timeline. My friends can. If somebody tags me, only I see it initially. So you can see it says only me next to who can see posts you've been tagged in on your timeline. I can change that to be that all my friends can see it if I want to, but I've had too many pictures shared of me that I don't want everybody to see, so I want to either be able to remove that tag or keep it as only me. So you do have those options there. So why does that matter? This is just my activity log. All of you can click on activity log to see yours. So my best friend posted a picture. I liked it. She doesn't have privacy settings on her page, so the fact that I liked her post, now everybody knows that I liked her post because it's showing up publicly on her page. Likewise, somebody tagged me in a new venture of theirs called Indulge, which I think it's skin products, I'm not sure. I didn't want to have my name associated with that, so I hid it, and then I removed my name, which I think I have a screenshot here. Maybe I don't. Up here. So where my mom posted my kids jumping into the pool, she tagged me. But if I click on the little tiny gray arrow to the upper right corner of that post, I can remove that tag if I want to. So I can hide it from my timeline. That won't remove my tag. It will still show up in my photos. Or I can remove the tag and hide it from my timeline, which I didn't because they're cool pictures. So it's post specific. So one thing I do is to create lists, and I'll go into this in more detail, but you can see in my lists I have close friends, I have gaming friends, I have my family, I have work, I have my past employer, the News Journal, and I have my current employer, University of Delaware. So if I create a post that I don't want my colleagues to be privy to, or if I'm on vacation and I just don't want, whomever to know, I can say don't share this with a group of people, and the people on that list won't see it, but all the rest of my friends will see it. So here's where you create a list. It's not intuitive to find this, but I think it's very important. So when you click on the F, the Facebook icon next to the search bar, and you click on Friends, which is in the long list of bookmarks and such that you have underneath your name, you click the word More, and it will allow you the opportunity to create lists. And so I use them a lot. It also helps for marketing and promotional things if you use your personal Facebook page for anything, because then you can just contact certain groups of people. So another thing is the Facebook, I call it the Download Your Life, but if you go to your general account settings, which you can access through the little privacy setting lock icon, or through the, I guess it's an upside down triangle icon to the upper right corner of the Facebook header, that navigation there, if you go to your settings, you can download a copy of your Facebook data. I will be honest with you, it took hours to download a copy of my data. I've been on Facebook for a very long time, and so it downloaded images, it downloaded every status update. It's pretty surprising and interesting. I actually downloaded it and then searched. I see Wendy. Hopefully you will also discuss how to protect self-business. A friend does not have Facebook. Oh, okay, yes. We will get on to pages. So here we go. That's the next slide, Wendy. So Wendy, I'll answer that question in just a second. So Facebook personal versus page. We know you have to have a personal if you have a page. So they're slightly different settings for your Facebook page, but you do still have settings. So here they are. If you were to go to edit page and edit settings when you're logged in as your page, and you can log in as your page by clicking that little down arrow. Again, you can be, I think I monitored 8 different pages now, and I can log in as any of those pages. So then I'm only commenting, I'm only liking, I'm only providing activity as the business. But this is where you adjust things. So here, post visibility, you can allow people to post to your page if you want to. You can not allow them. So then they wouldn't be able to leave you reviews or anything like that. They would just be able to like the content that you have and leave comments. If you have duplicate pages, I know that this has happened when brandings have changed. You can merge pages that way. Comment replies. So if somebody leaves a comment for me, nobody else can reply to their comment. They can provide a new comment. So there's just a variety. I suggest that you look through all of them. We do allow people to tag photos on our page because a lot of our students will want to tag each other if they've just won an award or something like that. So we do allow that, and we have a greater reach in that respect. So I know that it is alarming how much Facebook can know, how much data is public, but if you fine-tune everything, you can learn a lot. So in terms of what Wendy is saying in the chat, a Grinch customer created a Facebook page for her and then thrashed her business. Facebook will handle that. I've had to do something similar to that. My son has a public charity called 3B Braised Brown Bags, and there was one person on his 3B Facebook page who was saying negative things about what Braden's doing to help feed the homeless. So there's a report button. So on every Facebook page or on every Facebook comment, if you click that little down arrow, there's an opportunity to report. So if somebody is defaming you, which is it's illegal to defame somebody. So Wendy, for your friend, I would suggest that they report the page, and the reason they report is for defaming. And for me, I think we heard back within 72 hours, and that comment was removed. And that person, I don't believe that they have access to the page and to our page anymore. What they do on their own page, if you have access to see it, you can also report it that way. But if you don't have access to see it, you won't be able to report it. So you can email me or provide me your email, and I can give you more information about that. I would be happy to. But they do respond, so you can report it. I see Wendy's typing. Oh, you're welcome. I would love to be able to talk to you more about that later if you wish. Now, moving on to Twitter. Twitter is designed to be a live real-time update. So it's 140 characters. Only registered users can tweet, but everybody can read depending on settings. There's only 2 settings for Twitter. It's either public or private. So Twitter has actually become searchable in Google. You can Google things and it will bring up Twitter updates as search results. So Twitter is becoming very search engine optimized, which can be a good thing. And it's just important to know that, so that if you are running a public Twitter account, just to know that it can show up in a Google search result. So it's a little bit different than another social media account, because Facebook won't show up a specific comment in search results. It will only show up a specific page. So this is the security and privacy settings for Twitter, and there aren't many, I have to say. There's one you can change for photo tagging, so you can say that only people you follow are allowed to tag you, or no one's allowed to tag you. The tweet privacy is yes or no. So you check off protect my tweets, and then only people you allow to follow you will see what you're tweeting about. But that also means they have to ask you, so they have to say, please invite me to see your account. So for a business, that's not very efficient to do it that way. For private, that can be very efficient, but not if you're trying to use it to market something. So on Twitter, much like with Facebook, you can download an archive, and that won't take as long because it's usually much smaller, but you can request your archive by going to your account settings right underneath of your name and your handle on the Twitter page. So here's just some tricks about how you can specifically talk to somebody. If you put a period before their handle, then it will go to everybody, but if you start off a tweet with @somebody, it will only show to you and to who they both follow. So for Braden is my son. If I tweet to Braden, he will see it and I will see it, and anyone who follows us both, so my mom, for instance, will see it. But there are different ways to make it a little bit more private. It's just never ever going to be as fine-tuned as it can be on Facebook or Google. So here, and Wendy, this can work for Twitter as well. There is a blocker report that you can report specific tweets. So that has happened. Somebody created a Twitter account that was almost exactly the same as mine and used my name. They weren't saying anything defamatory, but I keep an eye on it because if they were to say anything in my name that isn't nice, I would need to report them. But right now, it's been very mundane. So you can mute somebody if you don't want to see what they're following, or you can block or report them if they're abusing their network. Moving on to Google+, because I see we're halfway through and I want people to be able to ask questions. Google+ is the one where it started off invitation only and you felt all stellar if you were invited, and now everybody has it. There's 300 million users actively using it. I'm sure that number has gone up. And the thing that is interesting about Google Plus is that it logs things without you necessarily knowing it's logging things. So by default, if you like something on YouTube, it shows up on your Google Plus page, even if you're not using a Google Plus page. So it just lists your activity. Likewise, a lot of smartphones use Google Now or use Google products in their smartphones to share pictures through Google Hangout, maybe, if you use that as your chat. And those pictures are saved in an album on Google+. So if you send a picture in a private Google Hangout chat, it is saved elsewhere. So just to know that, so that you can go delete it, or you can just make sure it's private. It's pretty much what I already said, but if anybody has posted, commented, liked, given a Google product review, anything, it will show up. So if you bought something on Amazon and you left a Google product review, it's going to show up on your Google Plus page. So, privacy. If you log in to Google to get your mail or whatever it might be, you have an opportunity to look at your personal information that you're sharing, and then you can also view your circles. That's similar to Facebook lists. So if you want to share something just with a certain list, you can do that. And then there's more specific settings for privacy settings. So here where I said if you +1 something, if you leave a review, if you post a photo or a YouTube, this is what the public can see about you. So you can choose to uncheck those items. By default, I believe they are all checked. So they'll always be visible to you, but not visible to everybody else. So I don't want people to know what YouTube videos I'm watching or what I've decided to thumbs up on YouTube, so I unchecked that. And then here, again, Google Plus also allows you to download your data. And I recommend doing that just because you might not have known what Google was tallying up on you. So here you would know, and then that would allow you to better understand how to fine-tune your settings. You also have the opportunity to delete everything. You can delete your account and data and your Google Plus profile. So, following up, I wrote why is social media privacy important? It's not just because you don't want people to know your wine preference, but it's also because it is so prevalently used. So 3 in 4 recruiters required to conduct online research on candidates. It's 70% of them rejected candidates based on online investigations. So it's not just what you share, it's the personality that you reflect on social media, because if you don't present yourself professionally, but somebody else knows, oh, this person works for this company, then it can impact the company. And so before they even hire you, they're going and investigating you online on social media to see what you're up to see what you're doing. And this is just, don't think that you need to cancel all your social media accounts. Just know that you have to keep yourself aware, because the terms and agreements and the privacy settings are changing as frequently as they are. But you are the author, and as long as your privacy settings are set up in a way that's good for you, it doesn't matter what anybody else says on there. If they tag you, no one else can see it. You can remove the tag. So social media networking is very, very beneficial, but it is also connected to a personality. And in that respect, that's important, because if my colleague posts something on Facebook, it's going to sound a little bit different than if I do. So sometimes it's good to have those different personalities go through.
Thank you for watching our archived presentation of our Wednesday webinar. If you would like to see more archived Wednesday webinars, please visit our YouTube channel, or to find a schedule of upcoming live webinars, visit our website.